Meet sailing yacht Avanti and her crew, Gerard and Jacqueline. We left Cape Town in December 2021 on our floating home, heading west on an adventure of a lifetime around the world. We are just about ready to pick up anchor in Port Resolution, Vanuatu and set sail for Australia. Normally we sleep in the front of the boat, in the bow cabin, and it's really nice to have the stars above us, and it mostly is pretty calm in the anchorages, and when it gets really rolly we actually just sleep sideways, so to sleep from port to starboard, so that you roll this way instead of left to right, and that helps with sleeping. But when we go on passage, this becomes our garage, and our garage turns into our bedroom. The reason why we rather sleep here than the front is in the front of the boat you have a lot of water sound. As the boat goes through the water, you've got that shoo next to the hull, so next to where your head is eventually, actually. And the other nice thing about being back here is we have a hatch right here where I can see Gerard sitting on his normal spot at night and make sure he's still there, or if I see him falling asleep then I can, send him off watch earlier. So it's a nice communication, less sound, less water sound. If the engine's running, which is over here, then we definitely don't sleep here, then we try and sleep in the center.
On this passage, we will be sailing just over 1,400 nautical miles over the top of New Caledonia and then on to Cairns. The reason we are not stopping in New Cal is we need visas, but also we don't really have enough time to stop there and still make it to Indonesia before the cyclone season starts. The prediction is for quite heavy winds, and we decide to start sailing just with the Genoa with the wind on a broad reach. It's quite cold as well, so we've got our warm clothes on in preparation for a cold night.
Muesli and yogurt to start the day. How was the night?
Not good. Little bit of rain, wind up to 30, extremely confused seas, but much better this morning. 20 knots. Sea is still a little bit weird, but yeah, swell is at least a bit more consistent. So we just have the Genoa out, pulled out, and we're doing about 6 knots average, so way comfortable, more comfortable now than last night. It's day 3.5 on our passage from Vanuatu to Cairns, and
Colonel Master.
It's day 3.5 of our passage from Vanuatu to Cairns, and as far as we understand, the Pacific Ocean ends just north of New Caledonia where you go into the Coral Sea. So if that's true, we've made it through the Pacific. So we're basically across the Pacific Ocean and we're entering the Coral Sea now, just north of New Caledonia. The conditions is really settled down. Last night was really nice to get some rest. It was maybe 15 knots on a broad reach and we had a current as well, so still making good speed. This morning we turned a little bit south so that we can make a little bit southing to avoid some swell which is further north of us in the next 2 days. So we're on a beam reach now, but the swell is nice and small, so we're really going at a good pace, and it's about 1,000 miles left from Cairns.
Tonight we're having mushroom risotto, and the trick with canned mushrooms is to dehydrate them. It's not the ideal weather to be making risotto, but I don't think we're gonna have ideal weather on this trip anyway. So to get rid of the canned taste of the mushrooms, I just leave it in the pan for quite some time until it dries all the way out, so it doesn't have that canned taste. Last one. Stay. Time for the onions. Will you throw this away, please? Overboard. And the madness continues. Now it's just lemon, put the mushrooms back and add some parmesan before dinner is done. We had a momentary pause in video making because we had a squall come through, so Gerard's yelling at the wind and I'm trying to cook. Just a normal day on Avanti.
And risotto dinner is served. Perfect.
This is the morning of day 4 and the expected winds have arrived. We have about 30 to 35 on the beam. Unfortunately, the wind direction is also not as expected. It's really bang on the beam, so it's really uncomfortable with swell on the beam as well. We just have a small little Genoa out and we're still doing 5 to 6 knots. So we're trying to just make a little more ground south because this is going to last for about 2 days and we can't afford to go downwind because then we'll be completely off course. We've had to tie the bimini down as well. Normally we would take it off in these strong winds, but we should have done that earlier. It's a bit of a mission taking it off when the wind is so strong. So I've just tied it down so that it doesn't flap so much, so that the wind on the beam doesn't flap it around and tear it.
of our blocks that basically leads the steering lines from Gandalf to the steering wheel is just broken off. The starboard one does tend to work harder because we always have starboard on this, on the swell on the starboard quarter. So yeah, I just snapped off. Luckily Jackie caught it quickly and she just took the wheel. So yeah, at least it's just a block, nothing serious. We'll just replace it. I'm just scratching to see if we have a spare block. These did come with the wind pilot, so I don't have an exact one, but I do have something similar that will work. So yeah, just fit this one and we'll see if it's better. We are just about halfway to Australia and we are going to, well, the booking we have is at Half Moon Marina. So halfway to Half Moon Marina. We haven't had any alcohol on this trip, but we're gonna have a sneaky and just have one beer each for celebrating halfway. We have hopefully about 5 days left and then we're there.
It's Gerard's turn to be outside. There's a squall coming. The last 2 nights I've had squalls on my night watches, but it's now his turn. We've had a few birds hitchhiking a ride at night on our back solar panels, and they've left quite a big mess that we only found once we took off the bimmy. So Gerard uses this rain to wash the panels.
So for the first time we're trying to just cover its eyes and it's actually working. So just to create less of a bloodbath. Just caught the biggest Mai we've ever caught yet. Not that big, but for us it's big, nice and heavy. Definitely a few meals.
Just before sunset we saw a huge birdnado just on the port side of Avanti, with big fish ending up racing towards Avanti. We thought it was dolphins, but when they approached closer it ended up to be false killer whales, our first sighting of these. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up, comment or subscribe to see when the next one is launched. Join us next week to see our Australian arrival. We are really grateful for our Patreons who support the making of these videos monthly. If you would like to join them, you can click on the link in the description below.